Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Answen Matthew. I'm a PharmD graduate and a registered pharmacist. I will be explaining on one of the most common endocrinology diseases worldwide, which is nothing other than the diabetes mellitus. So what is this diabetes mellitus? Yeah, in a layman language, or the most common term which we use to describe this diabetes mellitus is the elevated or the increased blood sugar level or the blood glucose level. Yes, diabetes is a condition which is characterized by the elevated blood glucose level. So here's the definition for diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus is a group of metabolic disorders which is characterized by hyperglycemia and abnormalities in the carbohydrate, fat, and protein metabolism. So the most important word to be noted from the definition is hyperglycemia. We can split the word hyperglycemia into three parts. Hyper, which means increased, glycine, that is referring to the glucose, and emia, referring to the blood. So, hyperglycemia is the increased blood sugar level. So, yes, diabetes is a condition which is characterized by the elevated blood glucose level. So, in this video, I'll be covering the introduction to diabetes mellitus. I'll be discussing on pancreas, the epidemiology of diabetes mellitus, types of diabetes mellitus, clinical presentation, and the insulin secretion from the beta cell of pancreas. So initially I have mentioned that diabetes is one of the most common endocrinological disease worldwide. So what is the term endocrinology, or what does it refer to? Endocrinology is a branch of science or medicine. It actually deals with our endocrine system. So we all know what is the endocrine, what are the endocrine glands in our body and all. So just to refresh, I would like to just mention the endocrine glands in our body. So starting from the top, it includes pituitary gland, pineal gland, thyroid gland, thymus gland, pancreas, adrenal glands, testes in case of males, and ovaries in case of females. So the gland which is responsible for maintaining our blood glucose level is the pancreatic gland. So we're going to discuss about the pancreatic gland in more detail. So pancreas is an heterocrine gland, meaning it has got both the endocrine and the exocrine portion. The exocrine portion of pancreas secretes enzymes like trypsin, chymotrypsin, and carboxypeptidases. These are the enzymes which are responsible for the digestion of the proteins. So the exocrine portion of pancreas secretes enzymes which is important or which plays an important role in the digestion of proteins. And the endocrine portion of the pancreas secretes hormones like insulin, which is responsible for maintaining our blood glucose level. So let's focus more on the endocrine portion of the pancreas. So the endocrine portion of pancreas, there are a certain group of cells called as the islets of Langerhans. And there are different type of cells like the alpha, beta and delta cells. And these cells are responsible for secreting different type of hormones, or basically three different type of hormones. The alpha cell of islets of Langerhans secretes a hormone called glucagon. Beta cell of islets of Langerhans secrete a hormone called insulin, and delta cell of islet of Langerhans secrete a hormone called somatostatin. So we have to focus here on the secretion from the beta cell, which is the insulin. So the beta cells of islets of Langerhans secrete the hormone insulin, which plays an important role in glucose homeostasis, that is maintenance of our blood glucose level. So any impairment in this cell to secrete the hormone insulin results in elevated glucose, and the person is going to end up with diabetes. Talking about the epidemiology, the incidence of diabetes is growing rapidly all over the world. It was estimated that around 347 million people worldwide are affected with diabetes. It's very important that we have to take this condition very seriously, because uncontrolled sugar or blood glucose cause retinopathy, that is the damage to the eye, nephropathy means damage to the kidney, neuropathy meaning damage to the nerves, and many other cardiovascular complications. Next we are going to discuss on The classification or the types of diabetes mellitus. The American Diabetes Association classifies it as: first one is the type 1 diabetes mellitus, which is the insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. The second one is the type 2 diabetes mellitus, which is the non insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, and the third one is the gestational diabetes. So the first one is the type 1 diabetes, which is the IDDM, which stands for the insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. Type 1 diabetes is most commonly observed or found in case of children, adolescents, or in case of the young adults. And this is caused because of the deficiency, that is the absolute deficiency of insulin because of the destruction of the beta cells. This is generally, or the type 1 diabetes is generally classified as an autoimmune disease condition, which means that our immune system produces antibodies to destruct these beta cells. As a result, the beta cells will get distracted and they are unable to produce insulin. So this diabetes, that is the type 1 diabetes, is mainly caused because of absolute deficiency of insulin. Next, the second type of diabetes, which is the type 2 diabetes mellitus, that is a non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, is mainly influenced by several factors like genetic factors, aging, obesity, and type 2 diabetes mellitus is mainly caused because of insulin resistance or lack of sensitivity of the insulin receptors to insulin. Here it is not caused because of any kind of autoimmune mediated response like the type 1 diabetes. So type 2 is mainly caused because of the insulin resistance or the lack of sensitivity of the insulin receptors to the insulin. And the third type of diabetes is the gestational diabetes mellitus. Gestational diabetes generally occur because of the carbohydrate intolerance during the pregnancy. Uncontrolled gestational diabetes can lead to a condition called as fetal macrosomia. That means there will be like abnormal large body of the fetus, and shoulder dystocia, meaning difficulty in delivery and all. It can also even lead to neonatal hypoglycemia. So diet, exercise, or insulin administration are very much required in case of gestational diabetes. Let's now have a comparison between the type 1 and type 2 diabetes. So, talking about the age of onset, in case of type 1 diabetes, it generally occurs during the childhood or the puberty, whereas the type 2, it commonly occurs over the age of 35. Second one, talking about the nutritional status at the time of onset, type 1 it's commonly undernourished, and type 2 it's generally like the person is going to be obese. And third point is like the prevalence. Talking about the type 1, it is composed of 5 to 10% of the diagnosed diabetes, and type 2 is it accounts for 90 to 95 percentage of diagnosed diabetes. The genetic predisposition in type 1 diabetes is moderate, whereas in type 2 is very strong. And the type 1 is caused because of the deficiency of the beta cells or the destruction of the beta cells, that is the beta cells are destroyed, hence there will be no production, or it will eliminate the production of insulin. Whereas in type 2 the beta cells produce in like appropriate quantities of insulin, but it generally occurs because of insulin resistance or lack of sensitivity of the insulin receptors to the insulin. So this is the comparison between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Let's now discuss on the clinical presentation or like the symptoms of diabetes mellitus. The symptoms of diabetes mellitus include polydipsia, polyphagia, lethargy, nocturia, weight loss, and so on. So the common symptoms which are found in case of type 1 diabetes are polyuria, which means there will be excessive urination; polydipsia, meaning excessive thirst; polyphagia, meaning excessive hunger; weight loss, and lethargy. These are the main clinical symptoms or the clinical presentation of type 1 diabetes mellitus. And also, individuals are often prone to develop diabetic ketoacidosis in case of type 1 diabetes mellitus. So I'll be discussing on diabetic ketoacidosis in detail later. And next, talking about the symptoms of type 2 diabetes mellitus, it's like almost the same as that of the type 1 diabetes. It also includes lethargy, polyuria, nocturia, polydipsia. And in case of type 1 diabetes, it's mainly observed mainly observed one is weight loss, while in case of type 2 diabetes, patients tend to be overweight or they are more prone to be obese. That's only the difference between the symptoms in case of type 1 and type 2 diabetes mellitus. So that's all about the symptoms of type 1 and type 2 diabetes mellitus. Now let's talk on the secretion of insulin from the beta cells of pancreas. So, how does insulin get secreted from the beta cells of pancreas? So, as you can see from the figure, I hope that it is clear. The thing which I have drawn like a box, it's a beta cell of pancreas. So on the surface of the beta cells, we have various transporters, we have various kind of voltage gated channels and all. So as you can see from the figure, there is a glucose transporter called as the GLUT2 on the surface of the beta cell. So what is the function of this GLUT2 or the GLUT2 glucose transporter is that it helps in transporting the glucose into the beta cell. Okay, and the next channel which is located on the beta cell is ATP gated potassium channel, and the other one is the ATP gated potassium channel is the purple thing which I have drawn, and the next thing is the calcium, that is the voltage dependent calcium channel, that is marked with, that is found at the bottom of the cell. As you can see, it is marked on red. So what happens is that as the level of glucose in our body rises, you all know that glucose, it will be in our blood, and as it reaches the beta cells, by the means of this glucose transporter called as the GLUT2, it helps the entry of the glucose into the beta cell. So as the glucose enters the beta cell, in the presence of enzyme called as glucokinase, the glucose will be converted into glucose 6 phosphate, and it undergoes various cycles like the glycolysis, citric acid cycle, and undergoes the oxidative phosphorylation and results in the production of ATP. And this ATP is responsible to inhibit the ATP gated potassium channel. So, as the ATP gated potassium channel gets inhibited, there will be no efflux of potassium ions, which will result in the decrease of hyperpolarization, and this is going to cause an increase of calcium influx. That means the voltage dependent calcium channel opens up and there will be more influx of calcium ions into the beta cells, which is going to cause the secretion of insulin from its insulin granules. So this is how insulin gets secreted from the beta cells of pancreas. Let me explain it once more. If there is increased level of glucose in the blood, more amount of glucose will be transported into the beta cells by means of this glucose transporter called as the GLUT2. These glucose will result in the more production of ATP. More production of ATP means inhibition of the ATP gated potassium channels, which is going to decrease the or inhibit the efflux of potassium ions, and that will result in the decrease of hyperpolarization, causing an increase of calcium influx and thereby resulting the insulin secretion. So what happens if there is decrease in the glucose? The decrease in glucose means less amount of glucose is going to enter the beta cell, which means that less amount of ATP will be produced, and hence there will be less inhibition of the ATP gated potassium channel, means the ATP gated potassium channel won't be inhibited, due to which there will be an increase of the potassium efflux, means more amount of potassium is going to move out of the beta cell, which is going to cause a state of hyperpolarization. There will be increased hyperpolarization and there will be decrease of calcium influx, means less amount of calcium is going to move into the cell, and hence it will result in a decrease of insulin secretion. So this is how the insulin gets secreted out of the beta cells of pancreas. So that's all in this video. I hope that you got an idea regarding the introduction to diabetes. regarding the types of diabetes, its symptoms, and the mechanism of insulin secretion from the beta cells of pancreas. So in the next video,